Yo, Wit is back with another one. I feel like talking finances with y'all. I've got finances heavy on my mind and have done for like the past while now. It's all I think about, bro. Is just numbers, and this was never really the case. But then this kind of has to be the case if I'm gonna, try to even remotely run a business or try to dabble with like a business or anything business related. I'm gonna have to have numbers on my mind like fairly often. So as it stands now, in fact, I'm gonna pull up my calculator on screen. You're not gonna see it, but I'll see it. And I'm gonna be completely transparent here because there's no reason trying to be vague or discreet or whatever. Because in the future, this is not gonna matter. There's gonna be crumbs in comparison. So as it stands right now, I've got 4949 rands my account, and by the time of this recording, one United States dollar is like worth 17.30 South African rands. So I've got 49.49. So let me just calculate that quickly. I just cleared everything by mistake. 4949 divided by 17.30. That's like 286. That's the amount that's in my my bank account, right? That's not accounting for the cash that's in my PayPal wallet, which is shout out Joshua again. I'm not sure if you'll hear this, but he sent me like half the amount and then said once I deliver it to him, he'll then send like the full amount, which was more than fair. You might think that was a bit dodgy. That was more than fair because he really has nothing to work with here, you know what I mean, aside from my verbal assurance. So yeah, I don't have like a website where like you can go and place an order. So yeah, that was more than enough. In fact, he did me a huge favor because I'm using the funds that he sent me as a major contributing factor to the whole funding of the idea. So his funds play a huge role in my plan. So yeah, so we have 286 US dollars on the table right now, plus the $70 that is in my PayPal account. But let me clear that up. It was 75. It was half. It was half of the price of my Cape Coastal Reverberator. But then PayPal took like $5 off that shit, and I was so pissed about that. So I might have to switch PayPal with something in the future. But it'll have to do right now because it's convenient. So 70 times 17.30 to convert from from USD to South African rand, right? And that gives me 1,211. So 1,211 plus the previous, what was it? 4949. That's in the account. That's 6160 rands. So if you want to get, so that's basically how much is that in dollars? I don't think I need to calculate here. It's just a matter of adding the 70 onto the I'm slow, guys, you're gonna have to bear with me, onto the 286. So in fact I might have to calculate that because I'm slow. 286 plus 70, that's 356 USD, right? So we're doing pretty well so far. As it stands right now, I'm no longer speaking to the Megatronics or the Megatronics guy, even though that is like a cool title. It turned out that the price that I thought he was gonna charge me wasn't the price that he was gonna charge me. So yeah, I don't know why that's always the case with Fiverr, because By the way, I contacted him through Fiverr. Like they'll set like a particular price for their tiers or their plans or their gigs or whatever, their offers. And then once they hear your idea, they're like, okay, that's gonna cost this much and much. Well, I thought this was the maximum that you charged. There is no indication that you could possibly charge any more than what you've indicated here. You know, you've indicated here that you're charging $300. Why are you trying to charge me $2,400? By the way, that is a real number that he gave me for this idea. I thought I was gonna pay you $300. I was speaking in such a capable manner when I first spoke to you, cause I thought I had the necessary funds to do this. Turns out you're gonna smack me with a $2.4 price to pay. I was so confident. I was saying stuff like, yeah, we could go straight ahead with your premium plan, because I looked at the requirements, and yeah, I did require to, I did need to go with this premium plan as per the speculation, or not the speculations, man, the specifications of my pedal, you know. So yeah, long story short, I am no longer going ahead with the Mechatronics guy. That is a cool name. I've switched over to another Chinese supplier. Firstly, I was on a Chinese supplier, and then they let me know that they bit off more than they could chew. So I went to Fiverr, and then the Fiverr guy hit me with the 4.2 thousand US dollar price point. Then I went back to my Chinese brothers. But before I went back to my Chinese, well, not the exact suppliers, obviously just another supplier that happens to be Chinese. But before I went to the new Chinese supplier, I did try my Indian brothers, and they let me know right out the gate that they would not be able to do, or they would not be able to make my product based on the strict budget that I gave them. So they're like, sorry. In fact, one of them used the word impossible, and just reading that word impossible kind of pissed me off. Like, how dare you tell me that I cannot do this? I'm at a point where I can't listen to anyone trying to tell me that I can't do anything. I'm at that point. One of these days I'm gonna smack someone trying to tell me that I can't do something. I'm at that point. So yeah. From the Indian suppliers, I went back to my Chinese brothers. And let me say something about these Chinese PCB guys in particular. It might be like a translation kind of issue, because a lot of them say that they can design. A lot of them say that they can design PCBs, but then when you hit them up, and then when you tell them, yo, I need you guys to design a PCB for 9 times out of 10, they ask you for the files that they would need in order to print a PCB. No, I don't need you to print a PCB. I need you to design one. And then they say, sorry, we don't do design. But then when you go back to their description, it clearly says there that they design PCBs, PCB designer and manufacturer. I was very careful when I was reading that, so maybe I can chalk that up to a mistranslation of some kind. But yeah, like it seems as though that the Chinese PCB guys mostly specialize in taking an already existing product and then just copying it or cloning it or whatever. 9 times out of 10, I was met with suppliers telling me that they can't design a new PCB from scratch, and that they can only copy a thingy-majig. You know, that kind of made me sad. That kind of made me think about how like how like a lot of the Chinese PCB guys kind of are like the Randy Orton of PCB guys. You know, just taking other people's finishes and stuff. Kind of made me sad. But yeah, I was able to find a guy who could design a PCB for me. But he pushed my prices like further than they could go. Because I basically, you'll remember, at this point in time, I have $356, right? That's if you account for the PayPal Pocket wallet, and that's if you account for the account, the dough that's in the account currently at 356. So he said that he'd be able to design a PCB for like 500, and that's pretty cheap, to be honest with you, because that's pretty cheap. Because I understand like designing and stuff, it's like quite expensive. I think that's why a lot of the Chinese PCB people mostly, you know, focus on cloning and stuff, because yeah, because they're trying to prioritize like affordability, which I appreciate at the end of the day, right? So they don't really focus on designing new stuff, because that's more expensive and costs more money, and very few people can afford that kind of thing, afford to do it, you know. They can't really afford to make it as well, because it requires a whole lot of resources to, you know. So this guy offering to design a PCB for me for $500 is a saint. He's an angel. Because you'll remember the Mechatronics guy was trying to charge me 2.4 USD. And then when I told him that I honestly can't do that, he like dropped it to 1K. That was the lowest he could go. This Chinese brother of mine, it's a man, it's like a gentleman, offering to do it for like $500. And he said that's the lowest price point. And my pedal is pretty complicated, bro. My pedal is pretty complicated in terms of functionality and whatnot. And parameters and stuff. You know, so I told him, I was like, dude, if you can do this for me at this budget that I've, you know, that I've given you, I'll fabricate PCs. I'll fabricate PCBs from you exclusively. You know, ensuring that you'll always make money off of me and me printing the PCBs and actually producing them. You know, kind of as a way to encourage him to go ahead with my budget, or to go ahead with me in general. But then he did later on let me know that I would have to bump the price up a bit from 300 to 500, which is still very reasonable. It's just that I now have to piece things together. I really liked our interaction, bro, because it didn't feel robotic. A lot of the times, the interaction between, and I'm not trying to allude to like I don't know, the language barrier or anything. I'm literally talking about robots. Like a lot of these suppliers, they'll use like AI and like chatbots and whatever to speak to you. So speaking to this guy was like really refreshing because it felt like I was speaking to a human being. A lot of the suppliers just chime in here and there in order to get information that the AI chatbots can't really get. You know, that they just chime in whenever they need to get information that only a human can get, you know, through like organic conversation. But yeah, it felt really organic, the conversation between me and this dude. And I like the way that I approached him because I approached him from a position of understanding that, because at this point in time I had been essentially been turned down by a lot of the supplies and stuff, and essentially being told, like I said, essentially being told that the idea that I'm going for, at least at the budget that I'm going for, was impossible. So I approached him from a position of appealing. You know, I was trying to appeal to the dude, like, dude, like if you could do this for me, I'll fabricate it exclusively from you. You know, just bear with me. So, and he was able to meet me halfway and stuff by suggesting that I bump the price up a little bit, you know, just so that he can, you know, make a bit more profit and whatnot. It just felt like two people looking to help each other out. So he's gained my trust. I've gained his trust. And we started speaking, bro. Started speaking about circuits and stuff that we could use as inspiration for the reverb pedal. I provided those, and yeah, really, I wasn't looking to speak on the interaction that I had with this dude, even though it was pretty awesome and stuff. And yeah, it was pretty awesome, but I kind of wanted to speak on the finances of all of this. So like I said, he requires 500 to design the pedal. But then I need to send him a pedal that he could potentially use as inspiration for my reverb pedal. But the thing is, I don't have that pedal. I only know of that pedal on from like an online kind of perspective. Like I've only seen videos of it. I don't actually own that the pedal that I'd like to take inspiration from, and perhaps even like clone elements of. So essentially, I need to send him his 500 service fee and the funds to purchase that pedal for him to disassemble and look at. So essentially, that's like 585 now. And that's not accounting for the fact that I need to get get first of all, like, get that fabricated and actually turned into a physical product rather than just like an idea on a screen on a laptop. It's not accounting for the fact that I need to have that shipped here. It's not accounting for the fact that I need enclosures, and not just regular enclosures. You'll remember from earlier like videos and stuff, I made it clear that the enclosures that I want to go for like are pretty unique in the sense that they're hollow on the edges and they allow for luminance or like light to shine through, giving this kind of cool glowy effect from the bottom of the enclosure. So I need to account for that as well. The 585 is not accounting for the fact that I need to to ship these to the likes of Joshua, who's already kind of bought a pedal. It's not accounting for the fact that I need to ship it to someone else who I'm trying to get to buy this pedal so that I can use the funds to the money to fund the whole thingamajig, because I did speak to him and he said, yeah, it's a cool idea. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I just need to sort out, affairs at home. So I'm gently kind of pushing him on that, and letting him know, like, yo, buddy, just let me know, not to rush you anything. Just let me know when you've got I hate to do that. I hate to do that. Trust me. Thing is, I've got very little choice, so I kind of have to do that. Like, yeah, I don't mean to rush you, buddy. Once you've got like your affairs sorted out, I'm just letting you know that you buying the pedal would come in handy, like, big time, because I'm gonna use the funds to produce it. He's one of the guys that I informed that the pedal is not quite finished yet. I'm still producing it. You'll remember that I marketed the pedal as if it was finished, as a means to get people to buy it, and then I use the money to fund it. My birthday was like 2 days ago. A brother of mine, Megamind, shout out Megamind, he was like, because I was helping him out with a lot of the sounds and stuff, and the audio files and stuff on his recently released album. And he was really grateful about that, and he told me that he might even just send me like a little thank you, for my birthday or something. So I'll have to press him on that, like, gently though, because I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't need it. So yeah, let's go back to the funds. So say that. So you'll remember that we have 356 to work with here. That being the funds from the account, and the funds from the PayPal pocket. Let's say that our rapper friend Megamind sends us a pretty decent 1,000 rands. That would be, let me check with you, 1,000 South African rands divided by 17.30 to convert to USD. That's pretty much like $58. So you add 58. Hold on, I'm slow, y'all. You'll remember. Was it 356? I've already forgotten. Did I say 356? Yeah, let's just say 356. That gives us 414 US dollars. Did I mention the fact that I don't think I mentioned the fact that, yeah, I didn't speak on this. So you'll remember previously that I sold my power brick to a guy in another city. So he's looking to buy an amp. I have an amp here. I was like, dude, instead of buying an amp from the guitar store, let me sell you mine. So there's a chance that I might successfully sell him the amp, because I successfully sold him the power brick and stuff. I gave him a good deal on that. I threw in like an extra pedal and stuff. So there's a high chance that in the event of him buying an amp eventually, that he might buy it from me. So I need to rely on the event of him eventually buying an amp. He was thinking of, because I appealed to him, because I was trying to get as much funding from as many sources as possible. I appealed to him. I was like, yo, dude, yeah, remember that I still have like a bunch of pedals that you could buy, maybe, hell yeah. I'm still trying to, because I told him about the pedal. I'm still trying to fund the pedal and whatnot, so let me know if you like a pedal. And then he told me that, yo, he's interested in buying an amp rather than a pedal right now. I was like, I've got an amp here. It's a Fender Champion 20 20. And I asked him, what amp are you looking to get? He told me an Orange Crush 20. And I checked online. The price ranges from about 1.5 to like 2.8. So I'm praying that I can get like 2.5 out of him, even if it means I throw in like an extra pedal like I did previously on our previous transaction, as a means of like securing as much funding as possible. You know, just like a pedal that I have lying around. He the last time I gave him a free pedal, he took one of the Behringer pedals and stuff. So yeah, he's not too picky on like the brands and stuff. So that leads me to think that he's like maybe a beginner guitarist or something. So yeah, I am hoping to get 2,500 South African rands out of him. So bear in mind that we have the 414 now to our name. Let's get 2,500 into USD. That's 114. No, that's 144. Sorry. Plus the 414. That's 558. That got us. That's getting us in the ballpark now of just funding the PCB design, not even anything else, right? did I yeah, I accounted for the 1,000 rand that my rapper friend could possibly give me. He might give me more, he might give me less, you know, but he might not even give me anything. He might just come to his senses and be like, yo dude, I was bugging, talking about some, I'll send you some money for your birthday. You know, so yeah, we've got 558 now. What's the other thing that I wanted to account for? Oh yeah, I wanted to account for the event of the dude that I was speaking to buying my pedal. The other dude that I was speaking to buying my pedal. Not Big Josh. Shout out Big Josh, the first guy to ever buy my pedal. I'm talking about the guy who needed to sort out his home affairs first before he could buy my pedal or something. So yeah, it's likely that he might come through, because he is like a friend and whatnot, like an internet friend at least. We send each other like shit posts on Instagram like consistently and whatnot. So what I'll do is I'll account for that as well. So yeah, I know the price of this one. I don't have to calculate it. The pedal is like 150. So I'll just add 150 onto the 558 that we've got to our name. And that's 708, bro. That's 708. I don't think I can do any more sort of hypothetical, you know, sources of income. I don't think I could do any more. Maybe selling my phone, maybe, but then that would set me back, because I would need to use my older phone, and that one is extremely slow, and it's slow on memory as well. And I'd essentially be I'd essentially have to like pack my life in a suitcase, but in phone form. You know, I'd have to get my bank details, have to get like my pictures, my notes, my songs, just everything, dude, off of this phone. It would be like a huge inconvenience that might not be worth the 1,300 South African rands that I might be getting off of it. And yes, I've checked. I've checked by the second-hand place how much I would get if I wanted to sell this phone. So it might not be worth it. But then if push comes to shove, and I'm backed into not even a corner but a cliff, I will have to do that. I will have to do that. You know, it was easier for me to get rid of the PC than it is to get rid of my phone. You know, so yeah, I don't think I can add any more income onto the 708. So let's quickly calculate what 708 would be in South African rand. So 708 times 17, comma. No, I don't think we need to do that. But then for interest sake, it would be 12,248 rand, comma 40 cents. Right, but we're gonna stick with USD. So we've got 708 here minus the 585. That would go to, the service fee of the dude, and then what else? The paying, I guess, of the reverb that we'll be using as inspiration, quote unquote inspiration. We're essentially cloning it, but then obviously we're going to put our own original spin on everything as well. So 708 minus the 585, that leaves us with 100. I say us, me, 123 USD. 123 USD to, like I said earlier in the video, to account for everything else outside of designing the PCB. And this really just made me think about how hard it is, or made me remember how hard it is for people to begin ventures and stuff. Cause I'm spending like 10,000 rand, over 10,000 rand on designing a PCB. We've got people in this country who are earning around 10,000 rand per month. That's nuts to think about. Truly nuts to think about. And then that led me to think about how we're paid to sort of survive, not necessarily start ventures and stuff. We're paid just enough to need more on a monthly basis. But I'm persevering, I am so rich. I mean, I am so ready to be. That was a slip. I forget what it's called. Floridian slip. I don't know. But yeah, I'm so ready to be rich, bro. Successful. I'm not even gonna lie about that. I be looking at homes, like luxury homes. I be screenshotting them and stuff. And this, again, I keep saying this was never the case, because I never really thought about money. This was the first year in my life where I started thinking and pondering and just contemplating money. Money didn't mean nothing to me previously. And it's really the world that kind of turns a person into a very money focused being. No one really is born to, no one is really born thinking about, accumulating wealth and stuff. People are just born thinking about their interests and stuff, and things that they like. But then as like the reality dawns onto them, gradually, they kind of just become very money focused, money hungry beings and stuff. And I've noticed that with myself, because I was never looking at these luxury homes. I was never looking at, I was never on my calculator this much. I was never daydreaming about success as much as I am. But like reality kind of forces you to do that. For better or worse, Did I even mention the knobs, the special custom made knobs that I want to have on my pedal? I haven't even accounted for the custom knobs that I have to get made for this pedal. I haven't even accounted for the packaging that I need to get made for this pedal and the delivering of said items and the shipping once they get here, the shipping to the particular people who ordered them. Wow. Turning 0 into 1 is really hard. But then turning 1 into 2 is less hard, and then turning 2 into 4 is not as hard. So it'll get easier. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Yeah, a lot of the problems that I will kind of encounter will be problems of generating too much money, as opposed to the problems that I'm faced with right now, where they're kind of like, I'm not generating enough money, you know. For example, like I, I'll be getting like so many orders a day that I'll need to hire people in order to keep track of those. You know, that's a problem that I'll encounter. That's a problem where I'm just getting too much money. That comes by as a result of getting too much money. So that's a good problem. There'll always be problems, but I think I'd rather prefer those problems. Yeah, when I turn this into a career. When I turn this into a career. Music equipment, not just pedals, but I've got like a bunch of ideas. So, but then we need to go one at a time. And I really do mean we this time, because you'll remember I've got people that I want to bring on board. My tea's gone cold, and I'm wondering why. It's because I've been talking for 35 minutes, 37 minutes without drinking it. Love you guys. Again, I hope I'm a success story. I'm gonna be a hero. I'm gonna be a hero to anyone who encounters me and needs my help. Anyone. Okay, that's enough. I love you. Jesus loves you. You know. Shout out the Cosmocrat. You know. I'm recording this on a Sunday too. Blessings.